Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer, for the opportunity to contribute to such a felicitous, critical, and indispensable motion brought by the member for Belgarden, Glamorgan, and Secretary of the Division of Health, Wellness, and Social Protection. Since its inception, the Tobago House of Assembly has provided special grants and services through its various divisions to the most vulnerable citizens of this island to enable them to traverse through difficult periods. However, the management of how these resources are distributed has always been a point of contention as it relates to the perception of equality and fairness. Owing to the fact that there has been numerous concerns expressed by the public about the possible misuse, abuse, and corruption, this administration has chosen to develop and implement a policy that reflects a holistic, interdivisional support system, be it social, psychosocial, or socioeconomic support. Madam Presiding Officer, at the Division of Education, Research, and Technology, which I now fondly call DIRTEC, there is a strong legacy of social support, and that occurs through food grants, school supply grants, and support for households that care for differently abled students. Financial assistance to students is a service made available by DIRTEC through the grants to necessitous students attending public schools. This vote has been provided for since 2016. It goes back to 2006 with an increase, but as indicated clearly in its name, the division seeks to assist needy students by supplying school-related items, which would equip students and give them an opportunity to perform at their best without disadvantage. This service is offered throughout the year, and once students are identified and their needs and assessment completed, these grants are provided for. In addition to this, DIRTEC provides counseling services to reduce dependency on the state. The aim of the school social worker is therefore to empower his or her client with knowledge that facilitates restoration through a transparent system of assessment, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. Though we can boast of the many successes of this system, DIRTEC has an overall policy that guides procedures across the Tobago House of Assembly. But we need to now reduce duplication, increase efficiency, transparency, and of course, accountability. At the Division of Education, Research, and Technology, a significant amount of money has been spent on financial assistance over the years, especially so with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. And this goes at an average of 550 families, 820 students, and $500,000 per year. In order to design an effective policy, there must therefore be empirical evidence as well as documented procedure. And at my division, the process of obtaining the clientele includes the following steps. Firstly, names are obtained based on recommendations by schools. Secondly, walk-ins are allowed to access gently used books, for example, stored within the Student Support Services Unit. I go further to say that these books have been sourced through parents who donate gently used books with the aim of assisting other families who may have missed the opportunity to be interviewed. Moving on, the Student Support Services Unit officers then conduct home visits to verify that the information provided is accurate. Applicants and referrals requesting the services are asked to provide the division with documents necessary to complete the needs assessment. The needs assessment is imperative in this process as they seek to, 1, identify needs, 2, recognize the resources available to the student, 3, understand how the student managed previously, and 4, identify and recommend how the resources available in the division could improve the standard of living and performance of the identified student. Apart from the needs assessment, though, the interview lends itself for the division through the school social worker. And this is important so that he or she can better understand what issues might be hampering the student's performance, whether academic or otherwise, thus providing additional support to the student and or family by the division, of course, if resources are available. In cases where the resources are not available internally, that is where external assistance is sought and the necessary referrals made to other divisions. This, of course, is in keeping with the professionalism of social workers, which seek to address the needs of its clientele holistically. Madam Presiding Officer, in 2020, at the onset of the pandemic, the Division of Education, Research and Technology received 921 food card requests and were able to assist families and children registered in schools across the island in that regard. These were received from the Division of Finance and the Economy. One of the major challenges was trying to avoid duplication of the services from the almost 2,000 names that were received in the system at large. Our Student Support Services Unit liaises with other agencies in an effort to avoid duplication, including the Social Welfare Office, the former Division of Finance and the Economy, and through area representatives. However, it must be noted that this process resulted in significant delays in the disbursement of the assistance to those in need. Owing to these shortcomings, this administration is now focused on delivery without duplication or delay. As we aim for the holistic social development, involvement of various divisions is therefore critical. And one of the areas to consider will, of course, be the type of support that is provided by each agency in order to eliminate duplication of services and to better invest public funds. Further to the aforementioned, Madam Presiding Officer, policy must include processes and procedures that improve the chances of the most vulnerable having access to services in real time, while at the same time reducing the opportunity for exploitation. There are several grants, for instance, that aid families with home and business development. Business development grants often span a wide range of fields such as agriculture, tourism, and construction. But many entrepreneurs have failed in their efforts due to lack of adequate training, mentorship, personal discipline, and of course, family support. We also cannot ignore the perception of grant funding being used in the past as a political tool to enable loyalists to drain the public purse, and we cannot afford to continue making those same mistakes. Our intentions are reflected by this groundbreaking policy, and we must now manage this process in such a manner as to bring true relief when needed and to support all Tobagonians in their quest to improve the quality of their lives. As Secretary of DIRTEC, this motion's resolution to use a whole-of-government approach in its distribution of social support to those in need in Tobago promotes the establishment of a multidisciplinary case management team. This team will be built from the various agencies that currently provide support and will be charged with, 1, reviewing what currently exists. For example, the agency's programs, procedures, database, and technology currently used. 2, identifying what does and does not work. Intake, procedure, assessment, documentation, for instance. 3, discussing accessibility to data, ease of access, and set time frame to receive or disperse information as it relates to this point. 4, qualifying those who will be needing assistance, whether we give a means test or no means test, for instance. 5, identifying decision makers as to who receives assistance, and then make sure that it engenders fairness and minimizes bias. And 6, setting guidelines for information sharing, whether we need to protect privacy and maintain confidentiality in certain instances, and whether we need to share in one space so that the actual client does not have to move from building to building and get all the help they need in one particular space, whether physical or virtual. Madam Presiding Officer, as we aim to create this policy that guides how this process is to be implemented with a June 30th deadline in mind, allow me to now submit a case conferencing model that can be adopted. The strengths-based clinical case management model recognizes that the ultimate goal of a case manager goes beyond just accessing information. In this model, the case manager focuses on empowering clients and their families and focusing on creating client opportunities for growth, education, and skill development. Further, the strengths-based case management model recognizes the value of community service, family, and cross-agency partnerships. It encourages the client to build and nurture informal support networks alongside identifying and accessing formal community services and institutional resources. However, the strengths-based case management model steps away from the clientician's perspective on the client's needs. Instead, it encourages the client to take the lead in identifying his or her own needs, take control over the search for resources and services to address those needs, and view the community as a resource instead of a barrier to success. Strength-based clinical case management models involve outreach, clinical services, advocacy, and robust coordination between case managers and clients. Implementing a program based on this model requires that organizations such as the Tobago House of Assembly and agencies such as our divisions support case managers with a robust case management system that can track highly individualized services and capture complex data and metrics. Madam Presiding Officer, as I close, allow me to declare that the Division of Education, Research and Technology supports this timely motion. And I thank you again, Dr. Faith B. Israel, and the members of this august chamber for allowing me another opportunity to contribute to this motion. I thank you.